introduce to you this year's legendary Herapon, Ricky!
Every single week, I'll be chronicling my first time playing through the Xenoblade Chronicles trilogy on Switch 2 in anticipation for Xenoblade Genesis. This is part 3 of my journey through the first Xenoblade Chronicles. Last week, I just arrived in Machna Forest and saw Melia for the first time. This video, I end my journey on introducing Ricky to the party! Oh my goodness, I can't, dude. Okay. I feel like a broken record in these videos, but Xenoblade Chronicles is such an incredibly fun game. I love my experience exploring these new areas, Machna Forest and Frontier Village. As I head further up the Bionis, it feels like I'm almost going backwards in time before homes ever existed. Seeing these prehistoric monsters roaming the forest, monsters that were once tiny in the Bionis' leg, are now these hulking, gigantic monsters. It has been a tremendously cool experience. Also, the vast size of the Machna Forest is insane. For the first hour of adventuring in the Machna Forest, I didn't even realize I could just jump off the bridge into the water, and then you see these crazy rapids, this gigantic waterfall. Incredible. And you're telling me this was all done on the Nintendo Wii? That is amazing. I often feel like the open world games lose out on these incredible vistas and uniquely designed areas because the focus is much more on the quantity of capturing an environment rather than curating the perfect time and place of an environment. So I'm very curious if Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or 3 dip more into the open worlds aspects and as the games expand onto more powerful hardware. Hopefully, they are still able to capture these amazing locations that I have been seeing so far. I think Machna Forest might be my favorite area so far just because of the variety that provides, whether it be the massive waterfalls and long rope bridges to the endless pits and watering holes to these massive interconnected wooden platforms. I just love exploring Machna Forest so much. And then to learn that the massive tree that you see as soon as you enter Machna Forest for the first time is actually Frontier Village, where all the Nopons live. Frontier Village is so cool because they really gave us the entire height of that giant tree to climb. I love that at the very top is this very serene pond too. And also, that the Nopons call Melia Bird Lady, which is great to see that Melia is playable. I love Melia being this very snooty character, clearly royalty of some sort, princess most likely, because Shulk has been having these visions about fighting for the Emperor with Melia alongside him in that moment, so it kind of makes sense. Also, she has got to be Hyantia, right? Her referring to us as homes, the fact that she has the ability to injure a Telethia. She also mentioned that the Telethia was caged at her homeland. It is all very fascinating indeed. When I originally met Melia, I was thinking she was like some sort of robot because her outfit choices are very robot-like and you can't even remove her headgear. But as the Nopon began to call her Bird Lady and left the party to go to a place called the Diving Spot in the Frontier Village, it made me think that she was going to fly off. But if we don't see any wings, maybe under her hat she has wings for flight. Also, birds like to sit on top of heads of statues, and the Hyantia are at the top of the Bionis' head. Coincidence? Also, after unlocking Melia, the meeting point in Dunban's home is still a question mark, question mark, question mark. Is Fiora really coming back? Okay. Melia is a very difficult character to play. I do not fully understand her gameplay, so I don't feel like I'm being very effective in combat. Unfortunately, I haven't unlocked the combat trials for Melia yet, so that will be my true test to learn to play as her, and I'll spend however long it takes for me to get S rank in those trials. Even with Sharla, who is also difficult to use because of that gun heating mechanic, I still felt great and felt like I had a fun time playing with her. The GP races showed Melia as the 6th unlockable character, leaving the 5th slot empty. Also, as I was exploring Machna Forest, I was gathering weapons for a character who wasn't Melia. I was baffled by who this next character might be. It made me hope for it to be a Nopon, and then we got to Frontier Village, and you could purchase skill books for a character that I haven't unlocked yet, and the skills sound very much like what a Nopon would say, and so I was tremendously excited when we got the amazing introduction to my King Riki. Holy! Harapon Riki is so funny and amazing. I absolutely love him. Not only is his goal to pay off his debts, which is just a perfect goal. It's a perfect goal. Okay, we all can relate. I love that even the characters cannot believe that they got to party up with Riki. I also just love the music that was playing during his introduction. I think it just might be my favorite music track aside from the unique monster battle theme. Also, his combat trials took me 3 to 4 hours to S rank. He was such a tough character to get right, making the decisions on how to best debuff and enemies while also trying to lose aggro enough to perform back attacks is incredibly difficult, and the trial didn't even give us the ability to play dead, which is his de-aggro ability. Oh my god. I'm sure he pairs so well with aggro characters like Dunban and Rein, but wow, the combat trial was difficult with a Shulk and Charla team. Also, what a wild choice for his topple ability to not always trigger. That is crazy. And for his sleep ability to sleep himself. It is truly the most Riki ability I've ever seen. That being said, I am now ready to tackle the world with Riki. I do not know how I will be able to decide on which characters will join the party, especially as I try to gain affinities for them for their meeting points. I don't see this game getting worse because it just keeps getting better and better every time I continue to make these videos. One last character who was presented themselves is Alvis, and I love Alvis, okay? He isn't the mysterious typical weirdo, okay, who only speaks in cryptic phrases. No, instead he's like, Shulk, that's a Telethia, and this is how you use the Monado. And the fact that he was so easily able to wield the Monado and show Shulk how to unlock a new power is the perfect level of mystery to this character. Clearly he knows about the history behind the Monado and the Bionis. He also doesn't appear to be a Holmes based on how he talks about Holmes, so maybe he is Hyanthia, I'm not sure, but this story continues to get more and more interesting. Please come back next week for more thoughts on Xenoblade Chronicles 1. At this rate, I feel like I'm going to be able to beat this game before the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2.